Hey everybody, it is Mike from Baltimore Rides here. Wrapping up Friday, April 6th. I did not make a video yesterday, and I apologize for that, guys, but it was a long day and my brain just felt like scrambled eggs. So, off to a pretty good finish for the week. I had a great night Thursday night. There was a ton of surge in and around Baltimore, and I went to Baltimore. I got started later than usual because I went and visited my mom and ended up just spending more time with her than I'd anticipated. And so it was 3 o'clock, 3:15, 3:20 p.m. by the time I left her hospital or her rehab place. And, I did the math in my head and I said, look, it's not going to make sense to drive an hour and 20 minutes all the way to DC at 4 o'clock. And there's surge and, activity right now in Baltimore. I'm just going to do it. And I did. And it worked out great. I had a good night. I did 275 yesterday. Done for the night Friday night. Did 230 today. Would have probably got another $40, but I got a nail in my tire. And so at 12:45, I had to limp over to Pulaski Tire on Pulaski Highway, which is my late night tire spot, and get in line with like 5 other people waiting to get my tire patched. So 2:15, and I'm just leaving the tire shop. It was a long line. Usually they're not busy. Usually it's like you just pull in and you go out. But for whatever reason, everybody had like flat tires tonight. So I had to sit and wait, and I had to because my tire was losing like 10 PSI every 30 minutes, and it was going from 40 to 30 to 20. I got to a Royal Farms, put some air in it, got to the tire shop and waited. I couldn't take the chance of it being flat as a pancake tomorrow because there's no cheapy tire places near me that patch tires, and I saw the nail or screw, whatever it was. So I wasn't going to buy a brand new tire when I could just have them plug it for $15. So that's that. So I lost some potential money tonight in that and spent $20 patching my tire. But, it is what it is. So the cost of doing business, that's going to happen from time to time. So, there you go. I've got a good tire place. I like them. They're great. They do good work. I've never had any issues with their work. There aren't many tire places out there that patch tire holes. Pretty much all the major chains want you to buy a new tire, and that's stupid when all they got to do is pull the thing out, clean the hole real quick, put one of those rubber solvent plugs in that bonds with the tire rubber, and you're good to go. 99% of the time you're good to go. So there's that. So when you find a place like that that deals in used tires and patches tires and plugs tires, treat them like gold. I always give the guys a tip. They always do really good work, and I've never been dissatisfied. So, it's very important if you find a spot like that to hold on to it. Because if you go to a Firestone or a Mr. Tire, they're going to just sell you a new tire. That's all they care about, is selling you a brand new tire. So that's the way the chain places go, is they don't want to give you service. They just want to try and sell you something. So, take that for what you will. Good week. I'm sitting at right about $1,000 as of Friday night. I'm at, it's like 989 or 988, something like that. Obviously, Saturday will be another strong day. I did not get any Uber stuff for DC. I don't anticipate I will, because I've had a couple weeks where I haven't been down there much with what's been going on with my mom. So I probably won't until I start driving in DC again. But if spring is in the air and business is as good as it's been lately, I'm contemplating maybe just sticking to Baltimore for a while. I don't know. I had a couple soft days this week where I only did 150, but if I can average 200 and then I can have a couple strong 200 plus nights, 1,200 a week is viable, because I'm going to do 200 plus tomorrow, and then I'm going to be sitting at $1,200. And what I'd really like to get into is, the 1,300, 1,400 range, but that requires a ridiculous amount of man hours that I don't think my body's capable of at this particular point. I really just don't. With everything that's going on in my life right now and whatnot, I just don't know if I can commit to the amount of hours it would take to do 1,400 a week. So, and now if I can get some consistent Lyft power driver bonus money or some Uber Quest money, then that's very viable at this point. But, right now, sticking closer to home, working the Baltimore region and not the DC region, there is no Quest in Baltimore. And the Lyft power driver bonus, I've got 23 peak hour trips in as of Friday night, but I need 7 more tomorrow just to get the cheapy $50 level. It's doable in, nighttime rush hour. It's doable. But unless I start driving morning and night, I don't think I'm going to ever get the second or third tier. I just don't. There's no Quest. I'm sorry, I'm looking for words here in my brain. There's no pool rides or line rides in Baltimore. So that's really where you can make your money with that power driver bonus, is doing line rides, which their line is the same thing as a pool ride for Uber. We don't get those in Maryland, Baltimore. We only get them in the DC region, and it makes a difference. It really does. So, splitting hairs, as long as I'm making the money I need to make, if I got to work a little bit harder for it, so be it. I'm okay with that. Sometimes you work hard, sometimes you work smart, sometimes you get lucky. It's got to be a little bit of both. It's always going to be a combination of all of the above. Right now, I'm just happy to be grinding and consistently making the numbers I need to make, and doing it with a day off every week. If I can get lucky and get to the point where I get 2 days off a week, that would be golden. But right now, I'm able to do it with 1 day off a week, and I'm okay with that. My body can handle that. So, there you go. And I'm finding the time when I need to find it. Tomorrow, I've got something in the morning with my son. He wants me to. I'm his bring a buddy to karate thing, and then we're doing some karate lightsaber battle at his karate studio. My daughter has stuff every now and then. And then I'm spending a lot of time, unfortunately, with my mom. It's not unfortunate, I shouldn't say that, but, with everything that's been going on with the stroke and then the switching her to rehab, and, I just don't want her to feel like she's been abandoned. So I check up on her every couple days at the hospital, or, now she's at rehab at Levendale. But, I want her to feel, I don't want her to lose hope, because she's already kind of discouraged with this stroke thing. So I don't want her to feel like she's alone. And I think that's one of her biggest fears right now, is loneliness. So, I don't want her to give up that will to live, because that's really, it's mind over matter when it comes to your body's health. It really is. If your mind is not in the right place and you lose, that fighting spirit, your body just unwinds. It really just does. And I've seen it before, especially with the older age folks, but really with anybody. When I was kind of depressed and things were a little bit sour, a few months ago, I was getting sick. And, when I'm positive and I've got, motivation and energy, I find myself not getting sick, not feeling gross, and just more positive, more healthy. You start to feel sour and blue, and then you start to all of a sudden you get the flu, all of a sudden you got a stomach bug, all of a sudden you're not feeling good and you're tired more, and all that stuff is psychologically related. It really is. I believe in mind over matter. I really do. Not to say that modern medicine isn't a good thing, but I do believe that if you will it to be, it will be. The other good news is the sun is out. We're starting to see the sun more, and God, that does wonders for our positive spirit, for our energy, our melatonin levels, all that, our serotonin levels, whatever tonin levels it is. I don't know. One of them is affected by the sun. But, circadian rhythms, we're sleeping better. When the sun's dropping at 4 p.m., your body is just, it's not easy to be happy-go-lucky when the sun sets at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. But now that it's back to like springtime with this whole daylight savings and this, the days are longer, it's easier for all of us to kind of stay positive a little bit more. The spring, there's flowers, cherry blossoms. I mean, it's starting to feel like spring again, I know there's a stupid storm coming or whatever. It's 60 degrees at 2 in the morning. I don't think it's going to be snowing tomorrow. Just call me crazy. So, but all is good in the world. A couple of you guys are having some car issues. The one thing I can say, I'm mechanical. I'm not a mechanic. I'm pretty good at figuring things out. And I'm pretty comfortable with understanding, what's going on in a car and why. Because I don't know why somebody's got their high beams on right behind my freaking head. I don't know why people drive on the highway with their high beams on. It makes no sense to me. But I'm going to let this idiot pass me because he's going to get a dose of my high beams because that's just stupid. So let's just give you the same thing. Sorry about that. I don't like stupid people that drive on the highway with their high beams on. There's no reason to. It's not. We're all driving along. Why do you need to have your high beams on? We're on the highway, for God's sake. But, it's... I lost my train of thought. That's what happens at 2 in the morning. When things are going well, guys, it's a lot easier to stay positive. This is a job that's kind of quirky, but it's a lot easier to stay positive when things are going well. And sometimes all it takes is a good streak. Being positive. I was talking about mechanical stuff. I'm sorry. I'm not a mechanic. So I know a bunch of you guys have been asking me questions, and I've been able to troubleshoot some of it just based on the things you've told me. But, another thing I would recommend is if you're not good at turning wrenches and fixing stuff yourself, find yourself a good mom and pop mechanic. Now the Firestone, Pep Boys, those places are really good at, you pull it in, you drop the car off, you let them diagnose it for 2-3 hours. They tell you what's wrong and it doesn't cost you anything. They don't charge you until they start fixing something. So they will do half the dirty work for you. They'll tell you what's wrong with your car. And if it's drivable and you have a local guy that can fix it, go to him and have him fix it. But, the local guys, it's a little bit of trial and error. If you're on Facebook or social media and you have a community, like I have a Westminster community group that I follow on Facebook, where you can shoot a message out and say like, hey, who's had good luck with certain mechanics? Can anybody recommend one that's not gonna, rob me or roll me over? And I found a really good one. But it's a little bit of trial and error. Never go to the car dealerships because, in my opinion, they have the highest shop rates, the highest, dollar per hour shop rates to fix things. And they tend to go on witch hunts looking for everything wrong with your car just to make you spend as much stupid money as possible. So I'd rather I pull in, I say, this is what's wrong, fix it. They give you an estimate, pay it, the thing is fixed, and you drive away. And they don't try and upsell you on a million other things that are wrong with your car. Maybe, maybe not. So, that's my 2 cents. It's kind of like the support the local business thing. It's not that I have a problem with chains or dealerships or anything like that, but just understand, the business model's different. It's kind of like diners versus going to, Ruth's Chris or Fogo de Chao. You can get a steak at a diner, you can get a steak at Fogo de Chao. Is there a reason why that steak is $40 at one place and $12 at another? Yeah, markup. Steak is steak. I mean, it's, there's different qualities of steak, and maybe they got their steak from some like organic whatever, blah, blah, blah place. But at the end of the day, a steak's a steak. The reason why they're charging you $40 a plate at one place and $12.99 at another place is sometimes quality, but sometimes it's just markup. They know they can. They know that they're going to get a more upscale clientele that's going to have a bigger bankroll, and they're just willing to pay it. Is the quality of the food going to be that much different? Maybe, maybe not. I have reservations about a lot of that stuff. I'm not going to say that, a 3-star Michelin is the same as a, Roadhouse diner, but I really have reservations about going to some fancy steakhouse versus just getting a steak at a diner, double T or whatever. At the end of the day, a steak's a steak. And if the guy behind the kitchen knows what he's doing, it's going to taste just like a steak, no matter what. That's kind of my 2 cents on a lot of service industry type stuff. The markup on auto parts. When my mirror got popped off my car last fall in Baltimore, my side mirror got taken out. $60 to order it online myself. $60. It was $300 at the Hyundai dealership. Figure it out. That's just the part, not including the labor. Now it's 3 screws and a little wire thing that snaps together. 3 screws and a little wire thing. I had the old one off and the new one on in 15 minutes. It would have been an hour's labor minimum. So it would have been the $300 for the part plus $150 labor for Hyundai to replace the side mirror that I spent 45 minutes on tops and $60 for a part. Now, that's what the difference is between going to the dealership and finding a little mom and pop place. Now, the mom and pop place would have charged me for labor. And maybe he would have made me buy his part, but his part is still not the same as the dealership part. And a lot of times, the mom and pop guy that I use, if I bring him a part, he'll use my part. If I buy my own rotors, he'll put them on. He'll still turn them for me and put them on. It's sometimes they're good with stuff like that. You know what I mean? They don't care as long as they get the labor. Parts are not really where they make their money. They still make their money on labor. I'd rather pay $80 an hour labor than $150. It's half. They're still making money. I'm still saving money. So, that's a tricky one. But I'm going to wrap it up, guys. I will be back out on the road tomorrow, Saturday. Hoping to be able to take Sunday off. I don't know how that's going to go or not. We'll see. But the plan is to not work Sunday if possible. That's my mission in life, is to have Sundays off if I can. So we'll see how that rolls. And you guys all get some rest. Be safe out there. A lot of crazy drivers out on the road the past couple days. I don't know why. Cops are everywhere. So just be safe. I've noticed the cops are everywhere lately. Be safe, guys. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye.